meeting to order. First of all, out of respect, first of all, is anyone recording? We have one recording. And out of respect, if we can take off our hats and, as we stand up for for a moment of silence and for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I say good morning to everyone, and I just want to say, for all of us citizens and newly sworn in, we want to say thank you for your support and all of us trying to have a successful year, and that's going to be done. I'm sorry. And as Jerry says, all of us working together, we should be able to have a successful year. Speaking of Jerry, as all of us know, most of us know Jerry is kind of sick right now. He has been hospitalized, and I spoke with Sandy this morning. I've been keeping in touch with them a couple of times a day. And Jerry probably would have been better, but yesterday he tried to clear everything out because he wants to be at this meeting, but he can't. So the medical issues, he is recovering. We'll just have to give him a chance. And Sandy called me this morning and asked me to please respect his privacy, and that she says if anybody starts saying anything to me, please make them stop. So I'm sure that all of us will respect that anyway. So, Jerry wants to be here, but he's not. And I just want you to know that, those of you that know Jerry know that he's given 150% for the last couple of months. He's going to make a very good leader. I was hoping I could just be second in command, and I will be back at second in command very soon, I hope. So we just want to, pray for him that he has a good recovery. Jerry believes in transparency. This is his agenda. What we have here is his agenda. He and I went over it last Tuesday, and even though I said, he says, no, I want all of this on the agenda. So this is his doing. I am speaking for him. Okay. Might be an item or two that I might have to table depending on what the issue is, because it's his thing, but let's see how we can get along. I just want to remind everybody that our meetings are going to be run with decorum. And decorum is nothing more than the exercise of common courtesy and maintaining the rights of others. And I ask you to respect that. We will operate under Robert's rules, and I will do my best, and I ask that everybody does the same. And what I've done is I've asked Carol, I generally am going to be a parliamentarian, and a parliamentarian is the one that makes sure that we are following Robert's Rules protocol. So me also, and you, she's not going to be afraid to step in when we overstep our boundaries. And that's all of us, that's it. And for those of you that just came in, I want to remind you, this is a workshop and you do not have to fill out a form to speak. The way that it's going to run is when we have a motion on the floor, the motion has to be done, and then the second, the board members are allowed to speak first, and I will take questions from anybody in the audience that would like to speak to it. I ask that we try to keep our comments to 3 minutes, so that everyone who's here has a chance to speak, so this doesn't run for 3 or 4 hours. That's all I ask. Okay, so that will be helpful for all the people in the audience. And if you have a question that we can't answer immediately, I assure you, we will have that answer at the next meeting, and it will be stated under the president's report. So if anybody has questions, secretary will be writing them down, and then we will be, maybe contacting you if we need more information from you. That said, first on the agenda is the approval of minutes from the board meeting, the board workshop meeting of 3/2/21. Does anybody have any corrections or omissions? No, okay. We don't need a vote on this, so as written, these minutes are accepted. Next, we have a, letter for correspondence, if, Ms. Stratton can help us with that. Hello.
Okay. I have a letter here that was received on March 24th from Barbara Turpinin. I hope I should be Turpinin. Dear Board of Directors, I was surprised to hear at the March 2nd BOD workshop my name mentioned in regard to my $300 donation, check 4917 dated April 17th, 2020, along with another check to the beautification committee for plants at the front entrance by the sign had not been put into their account. The check cleared the Capital City Bank on April 27th, 2020, but the beautification committee has been told by the office that this check was not deposited in BCPO account. I know the past year was very trying with COVID and so many volunteers doing bookkeeping deposits. I'm asking the board to have the bookkeeper, Lynette Price, run off a detailed report of all deposits so that the general manager, Phil Webster, can analyze them to be sure that they were properly distributed. Having Lynette make the correcting entries and for Carol to report back at the next board of directors the outcome of this analysis. Carol, do you want to speak on that?
No, I gave
Oh, okay, well then let me.
I gave you guys all my paperwork.
Yes, you can, would you like to
So,
take that?
and I will, yes, the check was cashed, it was put in the Fall Fest, landscaping category for donated funds, which appeared to be where it was supposed to be deposited. And, since that time, it has been moved. As a matter of fact, the date of that was March 29th, 2021, that it was moved back to, beautification. So that it was in their account, both her, and I guess there was another check from another person called, Esposito.
Yes.
So that is done, thank you.
And the problem was is that it went into the account for the Fall Festival because that's where we had it originally. And it just wasn't moved into the, beautification account. Because with the beautification committee was the one that actually, made the check out. So that is, and I think Jim, you've spoken to those, Jim Stein is the chairman of the beautification committee. I know you've spoken to Ms. Esposito. Have you spoken to Ms. Turpinin because you were conversing with her?
Yeah, I've got to call her today. She went back up to New York State, so I got to wait till she gets straightened out a little bit, but I'll give her a call later.
Oh, okay, thank you. Thank you. Under reports, the treasurer's report. I'm sorry, the president's report, sorry. Yes, it's been a while. Okay, this is, under the president's report, this is where Jerry and I really spoke a lot of, and this is part of his transparency. So the first part is, transparency on finances, contracts, and computer costs. Under finances, Larry Booth, who's our new treasurer, and I have been reviewing our finances. It appears there might have been some overspending on items in the operating budget, including computer consulting and attorney litigation and some elements within the reserve account. We are investigating all accounts. It's going to take a little bit of time, and we will report to all of the residents within the month. Our reasoning is that the board must know the exact nature of our budget to prepare for the 2022 budget, which actually starts the end of May. The major concern that we have is if expenditures were other than the budget voted on by the membership, who authorized the overspending, and why was it done without membership approval? If there was no approval, why were the funds spent? So those are the questions that we're looking at. And I want to tell you, with Jerry indisposed right now, we hope to have it done within the month. So, transparency on contracts. Jerry and I were made aware that 2 employees were given contracts. Very rarely do HOAs have employee contracts because Florida is an at-will state, which means the employee can terminate for any cause as long as the procedures written in the employee manual are followed. We are reviewing these contracts with Attorney Mather, our HOA attorney. We will report as soon as we finish the investigation. We also realize that employees need protection from residents who run for the board who have a personal conflict with an employee. Our legal team will also review our employee manual, which is where the protection should be. We never want our employees to feel that they would be terminated because of a board change. Transparency on computer costs. Expenditures on consulting fees and computer costs appear to be way over budgeted since last July. And Brookridge is no closer to a resolution. We have a resident, Mr. Green, who has over 30 years of IT experience that offered to come in and review the system also. And he's doing it as a resident, he's doing it for free. We have 2 major concerns that we figured out. Our emails are not getting to all residents. And these are the residents have emails on file. And the computers in the front office, code enforcement, the guardhouse, and the clubhouse are not in sync with each other. That means that they're not talking with each other. So when a change comes one place, it's not connecting with the other ones. And the guardhouse, the front office, code enforcement, and guardhouse have not relayed information to each other since July 20th of last year. And that can cause a huge safety issue, because that's where the front lines are, to have people coming in and out. So those are the 2 biggest issues right now that we are working on. So we will report back as things go on. The infrared cameras for speeding. This was something that Jerry and I, when we were interviewing one of our code enforcement officers, they talked about having infrared cameras. And what they were looking at was there are apparently infrared cameras that can be moved around around Brookridge. And if that's true, we can have them moved on anywhere on Brookridge Boulevard. We can go into the neighborhoods and do them where we have some issues with speeding. And the good thing about these is that they would be working 24 hours a day. And they will be doing exactly what the laser gun does. It does the speed, the time, the day, and it can take the picture of the license even in the evening. And what that will do is that will hopefully stop the speeders when the code enforcement is not out on the boulevard. The problem is that you can't have the code enforcement out there 24 hours a day. That's a huge problem. And what this will do is this will free up the code enforcement to do the work that they're supposed to do, and this will do it. Now, there is a cost involved, so that is part of what Jerry and our code enforcement officer will be looking at. So we're hoping to report back to you within the next 2 months on that, because we have a lot of things within the month. So we just want you to know that that is one thing that Jerry is looking at. Clubhouse reopening for guests and non-residents. Our target date is to have 70 to 75% of the people 50 years and over vaccinated in Hernando County. Our best target date is May, but he's saying, it might be till June. If anyone knows a resident who has not been vaccinated because of health issues or they have no transportation, Pine Brook Pharmacy? Yeah. Pine Brook Pharmacy is willing to come in and make house calls and bring the vaccines to the people. And, this way here, it'll get some of those elderly out again so that they can feel safe in the community. So if you know anybody who hasn't had a COVID shot, just kind of nudge them a little bit, because we'd like to get Brookridge up and running again. It's been a very difficult year with everybody not being able to do anything.
Excuse me, Gail. If anybody wants, they can contact me at the office and I can get hold of God from the phone book.
Okay, so that's the contact person. That'll be Carol at the office, and she will be the contact person for anybody wanting to have Pine Brook Pharmacy come and shop. The other thing that I have is Governor DeSantis just signed a COVID-19 liability bill. And that bill is to take the liability off companies and corporations if somebody gets COVID. They can't sue us. The interesting thing here, I'm not going to go through it, but it is important for boards to remember that the state of Florida is still under a statewide state of emergency until April 26th. Okay, so there's that right there covers us. That's going to be right through April. Yep, and I've got copies for everybody. And I don't know if this is okay to do, but I'd like to know how many people have had their shots in here. Oh, well, I'm just asking. Thank you, everybody. So, and I'm just curious, because that, as more of us get vaccinated, the better we can be able to do things up at the clubhouse here. So that's our aim. Let's see. Something else. There's something else, but I can't think of it right now. As of right now, Carol, do you have anything to report? If you could give us a rundown on a couple of things that you are aware of.
Did you want me to do, Captain Schubert, or do you want me to wait till you get there?
Let me see, where's Captain Judith? Okay, we're going to move the agenda, with unfinished business, the luck of the ballot box, and we're gonna bring it up to, Carol's report. And Captain Judith isn't here today, so he asked Carol to help him with that.
Captain Schubert has submitted his official report regarding the inspection of the locking mechanism on the ballot box. He determined that there wasn't any evidence that the ballots themselves were tampered with. The report and the lock are available for your review at the admin office. Please submit your request in writing so that me and Captain Schubert can be available when you want to come in. Also, on social media, something was said about the admin office felt was a hostile environment. I have not seen any hostility in the office. As with any election, there is a transition period. I want the residents to know that my staff and I are looking forward to working with the new board, and we will do our best to support them and the residents of Brookridge. I'd also like to let Jerry and Sandy know that our thoughts and prayers are with them.
Thank you. There is one more thing under my report. Part of the president's duty is to have the liaison list by the first meeting. And It's actually on the website before I saw it. So Jerry Foster is the personnel director. He is liaison to the RV compound, the ABRC, and the club house. Myself, Gail Metcalf, is liaison to the unit reps, the election committee, and the nominating committee. Rosemary Bastieri is the liaison to the Memorial and Veterans Day Committee, and also the liaison to the Beautification Committee. Larry Goose is the liaison to the Finance Committee. Val Stratton will be the liaison to the Friday Night Bingo. Mark Keller is the liaison to the Golf Club. And Rich Stratton is the liaison to the Architectural Control Committee. And I would just like to say what liaisons' duties are. Liaisons are there to answer questions and relay information and inquiries to the office for the different committees. And we want to remember that we do not join discussions, and because this is the committees doing it for us. So we do not put input in there unless they ask for questions. So I'd like to remind all of our members, our board members, to remember that. Thank you.
Gail, can I say one thing? Back up to the report on the compromise of the ballot box.
Oh, yes.
I just want to render the people, when I walked in there, the people were standing there, this was this took the box to take care of it. The mechanism was off the box, laying on the table. So somebody had removed the mechanism off the latch on the box. I'd like to know who took the mechanism off the box. Care what's in the box or not, I want to know who took it apart.
Captain Schubert took the lock off the box.
For what reason?
He was trying to figure out if it had been broken into. The ballots were not tampered with. As he explained before in the last meeting, all the ballots were matched to all envelopes.
So he took the mechanism off the box to check on it, he couldn't leave it on the box tape to look at it. He took it off the box.
He was asked to remove it, and I gave him permission to. He was asked by the election committee.
I don't understand why he took it off. If it was taped properly, which it was, the 3 locks were taped, and the last was taped.
The tape had been tampered with.
Okay, who tampered with the tape?
We don't know.
I'd like to find out, I want to have another investigation.
You are more than welcome to come down to the office and read his report.
I'd like to have another investigation of who took the tape off the lock to start the process. It says that's from God, excuse me.
I will say that, because it is in Captain Schubert's report, the only evidence they could find before he took the lock off was that there are 2 sets of initials, Arlene's and Mary Sweeney, because she was the chairman, she's the chairman of the election committee. Oh, wasn't her? Okay, I'm not sure. Captain Schubert, and you saw it? Okay. Anyway, there was 2, maybe it was somebody else's, but those 2, the only evidence that they could find before they took the lock off was that those 2 sets of initials were rubbed off. So it appeared that it was tampered with. And after he took the pictures for that, he then went into the box because he was asked to go in there to make sure that there was nothing tampered with. And believe me, when you see the tape that was on that lock, there's no way that anybody could have put it back together the way that it was done. So that is the only evidence we have, but, Rich, feel free to go down to the office and we can report next time if there's anything different.
That's not, the issue is, I like to have a 2-man concept. Everything you do around here is a 2-man concept. So one look to the other person and vice versa. We do that for the voting, other people. Why do you do it by yourself? Why do you have another person with them? They take back the story.
Wait a minute, okay, let's, I'm gonna conclude this by saying Captain Schubert was, Okay, please. Mary, could you come? I'm sorry. I didn't realize, don't do this, do this. Okay. Because I wasn't sure if you said don't or yes.
There were 6 other people in the room when Captain Schubert.
Can you just, wait a minute,
Can you just give your name? Mary Sweeney, Unit 4, head of the election committee. There were 6 other people in the room when Captain Schubert removed the lock at my request.
That answers the question then. Thank you, Mary. Mary, can you come back?
I got a question for you. I was told that the tape had been tampered with on that box 3 times. And like to know why the board wasn't informed of this until the day Carol sent the letter out saying that, ballot box had been tampered with.
Well, the first time it was tampered with, we have pictures of it. We're not sure, they couldn't have gotten in that time because you can see a thread that came from the tape still over that. That's why it was decided that we would tape it again and that Arlene and someone else would put their initials on that tape. And the second time, the tape had no initials on it, and that made us think that maybe somebody got in. It wasn't 3 times that I know of, it was twice.
Okay, I was told it was 3 times, but I'd like to know why the board was never.
That's really not a discussion for right now. Mary is giving the reason. So that is something that, thank you for bringing that information to us because it shows that there was the appearance of it, but it was not, you couldn't break into it because I saw the pictures of it. There was no way they could take that stuff off and be able to put it back on the way you had. They
Thank
couldn't
you,
get a
Gail,
lot
for
of
cutting me off.
No, we just don't want to.
Here we go.
We have she gave us the information. The reason the question was not a question to hear is that it was an ask why the board wasn't told. The issue is, was it tampered with? So that's the only reason why we wanted to, that is something you can discuss privately, but that's not really the word. That's not really the word. Okay, that's the only reason why. All right, next on the agenda is bringing in a new unit rep, and then per standard operating procedures for the unit reps, the purpose of unit reps is in accordance with the BCPO bylaws, unit reps, Article 5, 6, the unit representatives shall assist the board with communications and special projects, promote improvements and community pride, and serve as voting clerks at elections as applicable. Due to the resignation of Penny Zink, we have a vacancy for a unit rep. We have received a resume from Delane Sapp to fill this vacancy. So our recommendation is to approve and appoint Delane Sapp to fill this vacancy. The motion is. We're a little rusty here. The motion is to appoint Delane Sapp to the Brookridge unit rep.
I second that.
Okay. Do we have any discussion? Well, I'd like to know, is Delane here? Oh. Come on, yeah, come on up, Delane, because we probably have some questions. Am I saying your name right?
Yes.
That's a pretty name.
I have a question, because I'm not sure. The standard operating procedures for getting a unit rep, once there's a vacancy, do we put it out at a board meeting that we're looking for reps and then take
applications? I think that there's always applications out there. We've never, done that at a board meeting. But people in the units know, there's just a, they know. And if, and what we can do is, that can be part of our resume process, because we're gonna be talking about different committees today. And I'm gonna remind everyone that you can put a resume in at any time, and then when there's an opening, then we will contact you, and that will be for a little bit further down. That's just part of the process as we go along. We realize that there might be a glitch.
Okay, because, it seems to me there was some confusion recently about a vacancy, so that's why.
Yeah, and that's what, thank you. Yeah, that's one that we can work on. Okay. Yeah. Anybody else? Does anybody have any questions of Joanne? How long have you lived here?
We've been here a year now.
Welcome to the community and looking forward to your service.
Me too.
Yeah. Was there any specific reason why you wanted to, be a unit rep?
Well, I like to help people, my career.
You probably want to take this. Oh, let's see if we can hear you with that with the mic on. Oh,
Can you hear me now? Okay.
My career has been in helping people. I enjoy helping people. I wanted to do something in the community, be a part of it. I'm social. I like to meet people, and I just thought that this would be an ideal position.
oh,
Plus Beverly's our neighbor, and I really like her. So I'm looking forward, if you know some of the unit reps, to working with them.
okay, well, thank you. Okay, then if we could vote, all those in favor of, having Dwayne Sapp as our new unit rep? Yeah, let's put a show of hands. Okay, yeah. 6-4, 0 against. Okay,
Thank you, welcome.
yes, welcome.
President, let me take a picture.
I love it. If you could raise your right hand. Do you solemnly promise and swear that you will administer the office to which you have been appointed to the best of your ability and judgment, in conformity with the governing doctrines of Brookridge Community Property Owners Inc., that you will, in all your acts, be governed by the principles of honesty, justice, and fair play, and in every manner possible endeavor to promote and safeguard the best interests of the citizens of Brookridge and the welfare of its membership. Do you so swear? I do. By the virtue of the authority conferred upon me, I do hereby proclaim you as a duly appointed unit rep and officially installed into the office. Thank you. Congratulations. That's the fun part of being on the board. Beverly, would you like to come up?
Beverly, I'm on unit 6. The way we get our unit reps is when we meet with the new residents and they get to know us, and they get, even within our community, people get to know us, and they come to us and say, we would like to be a unit rep when there's an opening. And then we tell them to give them an application, or we tell them to go to the office and get an application. But we're always happy to have unit reps. Thank you.
Thank you, Beth. Okay. Next on the agenda is, we have down here reinstate an RV compound committee. But since they were never disbanded at a board meeting, we don't have to reinstate them. So what I would like to, they were never officially disbanded, therefore there was no reinstatement. So we do not need a vote on that, but I want you to know that we will be, let's see, who is Jerry. Jerry is our liaison, and this is this is gonna be something that's there in return. He's going to be accepting resumes from the residents for the RV compound. And we feel there was some glitches, and it's just a matter of correcting those glitches, because the RV compound has always done a fantastic job with keeping everything, very well. We've had some issues that we can't have 100%, but there was a couple of issues that happened, and I can understand why the board took such a drastic, move at the time, but we really should be asking the right questions. So, we will be accepting resumes, and you want to bring them into the office, and Jerry will receive them. And while we're at that point, I don't have my 2002 paperwork. The fees that were going to be imposed on the compound, we have a resolution that was from the Board of Directors in 2003 that states that the RV compound is an amenity, and we cannot impose a fee on an amenity unless it is voted on by the membership. So this is one of the items that will be given to the new finance committee, after we know exactly what our budget is, and it will be given to them, and if they deem that we want to do something like this, they will bring it forward in September. But until that time, there are no fees for the compound.
No response? I'm shocked.
Our next on the agenda is a noodle for the pool, but,
Yeah.
oh, you are here, okay. Vince, we'd like you to, I'm too far away.
That's show and tell.
Yes.
Make sure you state your name.
It's been a long time since we've seen the show, so this will be good.
Hello.
Hello, good morning. As best of my knowledge of our pool rules, there are only two approved flotation devices, okay? Which is a noodle, clearly defined as a noodle, and a life vest that's already been approved by the Coast Guard. It's gonna have an approved listing on the Coast Guard, either tag or, print. So it's become to my attention that we have some residents that like to come to the pool with a chair. And I personally witnessed at least 8 of these in the pool at one time, and it took up about 35 feet of the pool. So this is made of a noodle. It's called a noodle chair, or so is this approved to be in pool? Is this approved to be approved to be in the pool?
Is that a flotation device?
It's a chair. It's a flotation. It's like a noodle sling, and the people sit in it. And so you guys let me know if this will be approved to be put in the pool, and we can change our documents in the pool.
Let me talk, let the board talk first. Okay, remember how we let the board talk first, and then if we have any questions? But, I would like to, anybody would like to comment on that? Well, I know that we do not allow flotation devices in the pool. That includes floaties for the children. And I believe the noodles are in there. That to me is not a noodle. It states it's a noodle, but that is, I believe, that is the definition of the noodle that that it was brought to, that is in the governing document. Is that,
It's in the rules and regulations for the pool.
yes, it's in our rules and regulations. So I'm going to allow my board members to.
I have one more question. Do they allow the water wings?
No, that's
No
what
arm?
You know, I feel, Gail, if we allow this, and we're gonna have to allow other things like that in the pool as well, and I don't think it's into the best interest of, our residents to allow things like that in there, because then said he's seeing how many in the pool.
Every 7 or 8 at one given time, it takes about a room in the pool.
Correct. So we have people on these kind of devices, and other people won't be able to get into the pool. And I would hate to think, that something like this would be allowed, and they would say, okay, then why can't I bring in one of those folding chairs that has a flotation device on the bottom of it as well? So I think we have to put a restriction on, like we've got right now on it. I don't think it should be allowed.
Just looking for your guys' clarification of whether it's good or not, that's all I need.
I would prefer not to see those in the pool. I think they take up an awful lot of room.
I say no.
Okay, we're going to go, that is and I believe that you even talked about putting it up on the pool area somewhere, that this is the only noodle that's accepted.
What I'll do, I'll take a couple pictures of the vest and the noodle that's approved, and those will be on the kiosk, and when my monitors see them in the pool, they'll ask them once to leave, or once they cannot have it, and, we'll go from there.
Although I do have a question. That's a skinny noodle, and I know they make them bigger. Are you gonna define the limit of the, diameter and length?
No, the noodle's a noodle, whether it's the big one, or the small one, or the medium, just the only one I've got in the room back there, that's for some of the residents. Some are like 4 or 5 inches in diameter, it's still a noodle, right? It's still shaped like a noodle, right? So, as long as it's shaped like this, that's not a problem. The problem is that you have people that come in here that try and manipulate it, and they tie netting on it, and they say it's still a noodle. I understand it's still made of noodle, but it's made into a noodle chair, right?
Correct.
Okay. Just like, we have an airplane. There's 2 sets of different airplanes, right? There's a biplane and there's a single wing. So which one is? Okay.
And I hope that people realize that there's no discrimination or anything here. We have to look at the good of all, and we just have to keep it there. That is what our rules and regulations state. So that's where we want to keep it. And, I know there'll be people that will say, well, at nighttime I'm the only one in the pool, but you can't let it at one time and let it at another. So we want to be consistent to all of the people, so we can all enjoy the pool. And thank you, to the board for understanding why.
Carolyn High, Unit 3.
No.
Carolyn High, Unit 3.
Yeah.
I have a question. I have a chair, not like that, it's mesh. It's sold as a mesh piece. It's not a mesh piece of fabric someone handed on. In the top is a thin noodle like you showed.
Mm-hmm.
That would not be allowed. I use it because I have a fear of water, and I've never gone in the pool until I moved here, and I was able to use that, and I've gone to swimming lessons, so no one should even suggest that, I've gone twice, doesn't work. That takes up no more room than someone that's an overweight person. Fits around my behind.
We wanna, okay,
So, what is, I don't see a problem.
okay. Is it Carol or Carolyn?
Carolyn,
Carolyn, why don't you, give your information to,
Vince has seen it, and at one point he said it was okay. But now that we're bringing this up, and someone said about a piece of mesh fabric, no, it's not. You buy it in pitch penny, it is
it's
like
a
the
mesh,
same kind of thing, and you put it in, that thin tube in the top. Well, because I was so afraid, I did glue another tube on top of that tube. Still doesn't take up any more width than an overweight person.
well, we can't, we really don't wanna, I understand what you're saying, Carolyn, but I would suggest, why don't you give your name and your phone number to Arlene? And, unfortunately, Jerry is not available right now until Jerry comes back, and we will listen to you further. But at this point, it cannot be done. And I'm not sure, and we can't say because,
Holding on the side of the pool, and somebody will complain about that.
no, well, let's take one thing, but we will talk with you separately. But the reason you gave is we cannot even, because of what he said, we can't do that, okay? So, but I understand.
I'd rather speak the truth.
Yeah.
Doesn't always go over well, but.
No, that's quite okay, because and I'll talk to you afterwards, because I'm even think of something else, okay?
Thank you.
Okay. Do I have somebody else? Yeah. May, yeah, and please, you have to get right up to well, we need your name and
My name is Lisa.
Can somebody, could we get that clean? I just don't like everybody. To do that, then you can take your mask off. And then you can take your mask off, Lisa, so that we can see, and we'll clean it afterwards. Thank you.
My name is Lisa Osterholt, and I just want to clarify, yes, I know it's noodle, but it's not a lot.
At this point, the way our rules go, no, it is not. Okay. Thank you. Okay. This is, all right, okay. Okay, the way, if you listen to his explanation, he said that the noodles that have something on them, that's exactly what he was talking about, they're not allowed at this point. Okay. And Carolyn and Lisa, just to let you know, and we will be talking about it a little bit further down, we are going to be going over, we're going to be reviewing all of our rules and regulations, and we're going to be doing that during the year, and we're going to have residents also on those committees, and they will be bringing us suggestions, so that within the next year, if there are rules and regulations that are indicated or whatever, we want to make sure that they're brought up to the 2021 standards. So that is something that, we will keep in mind, because I have your names down here. So we just want to make sure that, we can't go against, we're not going to go against the rules, we can't, if you do an exception to one rule, you got to do an exception to all the rules. We want to be consistent. But that is something that we definitely will look at this year. So thank you for it, because I wanted to see what you were talking about. Okay. So that was the meeting.
we are at the capital contribution fee. The capital contribution fee. Capital contribution fee that the board had put in, that is a fee, and as I read more, is a fee that the buyer, pays coming into Brookridge for capital improvement. That is the premise with a capital contribution fee. But the board cannot instate that. It has to be the membership that makes that decision. So that is something else that will go, that's one of the items that will go to the finance committee, and for them to decide whether they want to bring it forward, and then it would be on the ballot next year. So because it was voted in, we really have to rescind that vote, only because it wasn't in the proper venue. It has to go into the next year's venue. So I will make a motion to rescind the previous vote to institute the capital contribution fee of $100 for all property sales effective January 30th, 2021. And the reason behind that is that we have to put it to the proper menu. Do I have a second? Okay, Rosemary seconded it. Can I have some discussion by my board?
Yes. Just because it didn't go out with the ballot, with the election, I believe, and Mark, you can tell me, didn't we already pay a lawyer fee to draft this?
Yes, we did.
So if we rescind this, are we going to have to pay a lawyer's fee again? And it seems like a waste of money to just, why can't we just lay it on the table for, August?
I would assume, and we know what it means to assume, that the lawyer's information that was given, that it would be the correct information, we can use that at that time. But this is, I actually have an opinion here from Peyton Bolton, which was the attorney, and it says, an opinion was requested concerning whether the association can amend its documents to require a capital contribution fee for new purchases. Another common amendment, which is highly beneficial to associations, is a capital contribution fee amendment, also known as an initiation fee amendment. The purpose of this amendment is to charge a one-time, non-refundable assessment to any person or entity that buys or acquires property in the community. In reviewing the association documents, I see no prohibition against an amendment of this kind. Therefore, this association may seek approval of the membership to amend the declaration to provide a capital contribution fee. Any declaration, those are our deed restrictions. Any deed restrictions must be voted on by the membership. Now, are you saying that we don't have to rescind it, we will just use it as okay. And I would be very comfortable. I would be very comfortable with that, because this is part of the information that they paid for. So this shows it. So we wouldn't have to rescind it, we can just table it and let it go. Okay. So just for the general public knowledge then.
They voted on it, if you have to remove it from the book, so you have to rescind the motion, and then it has to go to, then it will go to the membership later.
Okay, so we still have to rescind the motion. Okay.
I'm clear. Usually when we brought forth, something that the public would vote on, the board would approve that it goes to, that yes, we approve that it's gonna go on the ballot. So it seems to me that that's what's done. So you're saying that the people come from first and the board comes second?
What I'm saying is, it says it's effective January 30th, 2021. It cannot be effective January 2021. That's why you have to rescind it. We have,
Got it, okay,
It was improperly drafted.
okay, thank
The motion was, okay? Okay,
Can I say something on it?
yes,
Let's look at what it is. It's $100 for somebody coming in here, not you people, not us, buying a home. Doesn't affect us whatsoever. Our pocketbook stays the same. So let's average this out to be 200 homes a year. That's one average in here, okay? That's $20,000. Let's go 5 years on the budget. 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. That's $100,000. We don't know that. Sir, we don't know that.
Where's the land gonna come from?
We don't know that. If the homes are for sale. I'm just giving you an idea, an estimate. That's all.
okay.
We
And
can,
we don't, this is not brand new homes, it's homes that are sold. That's number one. But the thing is that it was, the motion was improper. These are things that we're going to bring to the finance committee. They will make the decision whether they want to do that or not, pursue that or not. And it would have to go to the vote of the people, whether they will accept that or not. So this motion is improper. So we need to rescind the motion, bring these things to the finance committee. That is their job. It is not the job of the board to decide what we need. It is the job of the finance committee. And the finance committee is an independent board of independent committee of the board, because that is the way homeowners associations are run. It is run by the people, and then they bring the suggestions back to us. And we just want to make sure that it goes to them, and if they feel we need that we can move forward with it. And on the surface, it sounds like a very good idea, but they're the ones that have to research it. So I have a motion and a second, like any more discussion?
Rich, didn't we have, when your finance committee looked at this and they suggested this?
if they did, I have the item from the lawyer, writing it all up right here, which did not make the so-called budget, but Gail, you want to read it?
No, I don't, I understand that, but we will, Mr. Hoos is the treasurer. We need to let the people that are going to be on the finance committee this year make a final decision. Because the finance committee that was utilized by the treasurer last year did not recommend that. So we need to let the new treasurer deal with his own board to decide how they're going to approach this. And also, we want to make sure that do we need it, do we not need it, do we, is it something that'll be a moneymaker because we're always looking for money? It could very well go through. And if we feel it's important enough, we will have our town meetings to discuss it every which way with our membership. And that's where it needs to go.
May I have one final comment?
Absolutely.
Okay. As far as the finance committee, that there's a be-all, end-all to this decision, the board can make this decision, is my thought. However, with that said, we use the finance committee as an advisory committee because otherwise we would have way too much work. And they look at the nitty-gritty. So it's a wonderful thing, and thank goodness we have them. However, like Carol pointed out to me, and I didn't know this before, this thing says it's effective January 30th, 2021. There is no way, the people didn't vote on it, so this motion is incorrect and needs to be rescinded. Okay.
Do we? State your name.
Ted Landon, Unit
You gotta
4.
come to the mic, You gotta come to the mic because we gotta hear you. And it has to be on tape. I know. Hey.
Ted Landon, Unit 4. On this, the way I understand it is that the people that are buying are the ones that pay this fee. Okay, a friend of mine just sold his place last month. He was charged $100 to go to Brookridge. As
Was that
well
the problem
as,
or was that the constitution?
pardon,
That is something we will have to look into.
I don't know.
Okay,
okay,
Ted, if you could give her the information and that person will contact her, she will contact that person, we will look at, we have to go back to the paperwork. Okay,
thank you.
thank you. Thank you, Patrona. Okay, so there's a motion and a second on the floor to rescind the motion to institute a capital contribution fee for $100 for property sales effective January 30th, 2021. Can I have a show of hands? How many are in favor? We have four in favor. Those opposed? Those opposed? Okay, two, okay, so two opposed. Okay, let's. We went from our. Okay. The next is to revoke a new addition to rules and regulations. This is one Jerry said he really would like to keep on there, because he's hoping to get rid of as much stuff as we need so he can move forward. And sometimes he can be a bull, like a bull in the china closet, so he said I have to move forward with it. Okay. There was a rule added to rules and regulations, Article 6, Section 5, letter B, number 5, any verbal or physical disruption of any BCPO function, including but not limited to Board of Directors workshops and meetings, will constitute a violation of these governing documents. This addition is not needed since it is already in the rules and regulations, which is under Article 10, personal conduct and pet control, which states abusive, offensive, or threatening language or actions are prohibited on community property. And that one, under the personal conduct has a corresponding violation, which is Article 10, Section 6, under penalties. It is C1 under penalties. Our rules and regulations are very wordy as it is, and this is redundant. I understand at the time why the board decided to do it, but he would like to clean up some of the language, and we don't want to have all these different places. So that is where that violation has always been, and when there have been any actions taken at a board meeting that are abusive, that $100 fine has gone out. This is to protect Miss Vivian because people still harass her, they're abusive to her, and I witnessed a couple of them just in the last 2 weeks, and those people, if I know who they are, they will get the violations also. It also pertains to the guard check. The guardhouse, for the most part, people are nice, but they are very abused sometimes. And we are a 55 and over community. You know, let's all have a sense of decency to the people that we work with. They don't have all the answers all the time, but we have the rule, this rule that we've always had does protect us. So I'm going to make the motion to rescind the motion containing new additions to rules and regulations, Article 6, Section 5, letter B, number 5. That is my motion. Do I have a second? This is one of those, motions, this is one of the items that I asked him if we could wait until he gets back. And he says, no, just go through the whole thing and we'll deal with it later. So I just want everyone to know that that's where this is coming from, and as well as my board members. So I do have a second, and I would like to get some comments from this board, so we can see if we should move forward or table.
As I said in the January 20th meeting, when I came up to the podium, I do not believe this was needed because it's already in Article 10, number 1. And I believe that when somebody's gonna get a fine, they could actually say, well, you're citing me with this, but not this. So, just get rid of it.
Well, when I talked to Captain Schubert about this situation and the problems we were having about the crowd getting ruling and everything, this was his suggestion to do it the board. And he says this would cover everything. And if you go down the last pages of the rules and fines, the fine's either a 2 or a 4. It's the last item on that page.
Okay, so fine, yeah. And I understand, if Captain Schubert did that, but our rules and regulations already cover it. So, anybody else have any more questions on this? Then I'll make a vote. All those in favor of rescinding this, say aye and raise your hand. Those opposed, please. Those opposed? We have 2. The motion passes. Now that said, we have to remind you that we have rules in place that will take care of that. Okay, so we want you to remember that, proper decorum at all times is how we get through meetings and have conflict settled. Okay, that's what we want. We want people to just help us all as a community to come together. Okay, and I thank you. Okay. He's gonna be very happy that I didn't have to do this. That I didn't have to do it. Okay, next on the agenda is establishing new committees. This is something I know that Jerry has brought up at town meetings many times, and he's talked to many residents, and we've talked about it. And these committees that he wants to establish is to take the load off the board of directors. There are only 7 of us, and we've got a lot to do, and if we can bring the community in, that you will own it also. It's not just us telling you. We need everybody's involvement. So, as I go through the advisory committees, we, as the new committees, we need to vote on each of them, and I will try to explain his reasoning for each one of them, okay? First one is an advisory committee. And what it is we want to establish a committee consisting of a retired attorney, accountant, contractor, person with management experience, a computer expert, and perhaps 1 or 2 residents. And what this committee would be is, as we go through the year, and there are things that we need to do, like when we have, like the roof committee and things like that. But we have somebody that we could call on and say, can you research this for us? And they're the experts, so they would know more on so we're not doing 20 hours, what they can do in a couple of hours. And the analysis that an advisory committee is a group that provides strategic advice and support to the board of directors of a homeowners association. This advice and support is informal and non-binding, so it would be suggestions.
And so I will make the motion to establish an advisory committee to provide advice and support to the board of directors. Do I have a motion? Okay, I have a second by Dan. You know, I'm gonna make this get back now, and I will look at you next time. Exactly. Do I have any questions or comments from the board?
I have a question for you. So anybody that's living in here, and you said the term is informal and not binding. I understand that. But if the person gets involved with going out in our community, is that allowable?
This is,
With our first, some of the records we're looking into?
say that last part again.
You said here, advice and support is a form and not binding. But are they gonna look into things that, if the board asks to do something and to do some personal checking on something, is that right?
That is not within the purview of the advisory committee.
You know, you put that in stone, right?
That will be written up. It is not, this is like we're having a problem with our computers still. A person has already stepped up to the plate because he lives in Brookridge and he doesn't want us to spend money that he can help us with. The computer information, there is no personal information. He's looking for the computers to be able to talk to each other and to get emails out to everyone. That is a perfect example. We have the roofing problem, the issue. We want to have a contractor that could possibly help us with what we should be looking at. It would be absolutely nothing personal.
But we had before somebody here who lives in here, 35 years is a small time what he did, IBM worldwide. He lives in here, but we couldn't use him because he's a resident on our computer system. We couldn't use him.
That was then, this is now, nobody is getting paid. We can't do it all ourselves. We've tried, look where Jerry is right now, okay, because he's tried to do everything. This is for us to come to the 5,000 residents and say, we all know that there are retired experts here, including the snowbirds, because we've spoken to the Canadians and the snowbirds, the rest of the snowbirds, and they want to get involved because there's a lot of professionals that are snowbirds also. And with Zoom and conference calls, that is bringing the community more together instead of it's us dictating to you. And that is what we're trying to do. That's what all of these committees are for. So this is something that is going to be a very positive thing, and people can give their expertise, and it's an advisory board. There's going to be no personal information whatsoever. It is the things that we are doing. So that is, personally, I thought it was a great thing when he talked about it. But it's up to the board if this is the direction they want to go in. Anybody have anything? Okay, do any of my board members have anything to say first? Okay. You'll have to come up and just wait for Val to give her.
Okay, rather than just saying advisory committee, we should probably put a label on it.
Well, this advisory committee would be somebody that would be a list of people that we would call on if we had something that we wanted to discuss, that we needed to look for.
So can we call it the professional advisory? I don't know, what do you think?
No, well, because we might want to have a couple of residents on there at some point that would give a different opinion. And that is the whole thing for this particular advisory board.
So what you're saying is we can have two attorneys on there when one's not available? You're gonna have a list of people like attorneys and contractors and stuff like that?
It would be for advice.
For advice,
Right.
right? Okay.
And that would cut down some costs.
So that's what that is his thought process.
Yes, thank you, Cynthia. Sandra Burgess, I believe you were two, I'm not sure, but you were two. And my question, first of all, I think the advisory board is a great idea, or the committee is a great idea. And I just wondered, how would you get on this committee? Like, we're very concerned, or we're very interested in pickleball, and, so we wondered, how would we get on this, or to be discussed on this?
Okay, and I just was waiting for everybody to finish because I will explain that to you too.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for the request.
Is anybody else?
Okay. And I suppose I can say it now. Every committee that we are going to do today, we are going to ask that you send the resumes to the front office, and we will have them compiled, and Jerry or I will be looking at them a couple of times a week. And we would have done it within the next couple of weeks, but unfortunately, it's gonna take us a little, so I would say by the next Tuesday meeting, we will have most of them in place, or at least started. Okay, so that's how they're going to, and every one of these is gonna be the same thing. I saw her hand. Okay, Ron. Now, don't forget people, I'm short, so you gotta get it up there.
Ron Ross, Unit 6. Question, you indicated at the end of that include a couple of residents. Will the way I heard it about the first time is that everybody on that committee you were looking for retired people that live and are resident in Brookridge, so all the committee would be Brookridge residents.
Yes,
Several of those would be, retired attorneys, retired accountants, retired financial people, retired contractors, and maybe just a couple lay people, is what you're saying, is that?
exactly.
Okay.
And Jerry said, trust him on this, so that's why I included it.
So we're not looking at having a committee of people that do not live in Brookridge, they would.
Oh, no, this is open just to Brookridge residents, whether you are a snowbird or full-time. Okay. Thank you, Ron.
I'm charging by the step.
I'll give you a tip.
Okay.
You know what the tip is? Every time you
umbrella.
Okay, do I have any more questions? Okay. All those in favor of establishing an advisory committee to provide advice and support to the board of directors when needed, say aye and raise your hand. Unanimous vote. Thank you. Okay. The next is Rules and Regulations Committee. I touched on this a little bit ago. Okay, well, we'll keep it as that, we have to, okay. The Rules and Regulations, Committee, we want to consist of 3 to 5 people, residents. And the committee is needed to advise the board and keep the rules and regulations up to date and pertinent. And this committee would be working with, the general manager and the president and the vice president at this time. So what we would like to do is, my motion is to establish a rules and regulations committee to provide advice and support to the board of directors. Do I have a motion? A second?
I'll second that. Thank you.
I'm gonna do stuff on this side too, because you've done some of the meetings in the afternoon. They're like a bunch of kids, I don't get one. We all do that, don't we? Okay, do I have any comments or questions from the board first?
Question I have, so our books will all be updated every week with this committee or every month?
We are looking at probably a 6-month process, because there are a lot to go through. I mean, we have a lot of sections for our rules and regulations, depending on how many people that we get involved. Because what we'll do is, you won't be doing, because the rules and regulations book is like this big. So we want to break it down into sections and probably have two working on each section, then they come together and they discuss all of the sections. That is what Jerry's vision is. So it's not gonna take just a couple of months, it's gonna take probably about 4 to 6 months to do. We wanna, we don't wanna be up 24 hours a day, because us old people need our rest. Do I have any other questions?
Okay, once the committee is, has their conclusions, then they bring it as a motion to the board, and then the whole board can see what's happened, and we vote to after.
Yes. And yes, that's the way it will be. Those are, and the people, the committee for the rules and regulations, they're not set in stone. They'll be coming to us, and I know that Captain Schubert will be involved because he knows all of the rules and regulations, and what his biggest thing is, can it be enforced? We have to have rules that can be enforced. And we've gone through the years of cleaning some of it up, but that is what the charge will be to this committee. No questions? Anybody have any questions? Okay. So we have a motion to establish a rules and regulations committee to provide advice and support to the board of directors. All in favor, say aye and raise your hand. Aye. 6 votes. And that's the same thing. You can turn your resumes in. If you have any expertise in anything, just do that. And what we're going to do is we're going to send out an email and hopefully get to the suburbs also, so that they're aware. I have a couple that have already asked me to contact them when we can do this.
You know, one of the things, emails, being in the office before, I had encountered many people and we've asked for their emails and their phones. Here's a reply, I have a new phone and I don't use my email anymore, I have a different one. Well, do we have it? Oh, no. Well, why don't we ask for it and get it? Everybody should go to the office, and if they have a new email or a new phone number, give it to the office. It'd be a lot easier than us saying, you can't get hold of us. It's so simple.
Are you gonna address the problem of not getting emails?
Okay, I will, why don't we talk about that right now while we're still on the subject. The problem with the emails is that we have some email addresses that are not working with our email system. I know that people that have the Tampa Bay one, and I think that Verizon and Roadrunner? Yeah. So any of those, all of a sudden, are not working with our email. And that to us is a big concern. So the only thing I ask is that if you get an email and you have friends that say, I didn't get the email, they're the ones that have to come to the office and check those. And if it's one of those 3 or 4 domains, we are desperately working on that. At least we've been able to isolate where most of the problems are. It's now a fact of getting them up and running. And that's, Mr. Green that was his expertise especially. So we're looking to see how we can alleviate that. So that's how, and if you have changed your address or your email or your phone number in the last 6 months, please get that information to the office so that we have the new information, so that we can keep everybody in the loop. But I believe that Jerry also wants to put it, we have a new website, the website is up and running. If anybody's been in it, it's brookridge.com, and then you go down to the member part, and you click on any one of those,
whether it's rules and regulations or whatever, if they ask for a password, it is Brookridge with a small b. So that is how you can get into it, and I believe you can get all of the governing documents now through that. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay, okay. So at least that's up and running, and you can get a copy and you can see what's in there. Okay. Next one, Finance Committee. Since this is a new year, and we have a new treasurer, and it's a new fiscal year, but normally what we do at the end of the year is we disband the Finance Committee that has been on board for the year. That was not done, so we have to vote to disband the current Finance Committee. There's all these little things that we don't think about, okay? And the reason we have to do that is that the present treasurer selects his new committee. That is actually in the financial, standard operating procedure. So Larry will be choosing his committee for that, and you will be sending out information. Same thing, your resumes come in, and then he gets to look at them. So our motion is to disband the current Finance Committee so we can end that fiscal year. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Larry, who's the seconded it? Rich, you're next, I want you to know that. You'll be the next one to second, if you want to, for the next one. Okay. Do we have any discussion by the board? We know why we're doing that, right? Okay. And that is something that's done every year, we just didn't get to. So if there's no other questions, I will ask for a vote to disband the current Finance Committee. All those in favor, aye, and raise your hand. 6. And this is another committee that Larry Hoos is the one that will decide who is going to be on the Finance Committee, then he brings those names to the board. You're welcome. We get it, enough is enough. Okay, the next one is to establish a health advisory committee. This came about because of the COVID, and if we have any other problems that we can't, who thought COVID would do this to us? So the reason why we're going to have a health advisory committee, they will be charged with attaining a comprehensive understanding of safety, security, and community health issues that may exist within Brookridge. The committee will consider and recommend measures to the board of directors that are designed to improve the levels of safety, security, and health in the community environment in order to enhance the overall quality of life for Brookridge residents. In addition, the committee may be empowered to act on other safety, security, and health matters as deemed necessary by the board of directors. So my motion is to establish a health advisory committee. And this committee would be, let me get a second first.
I'll second it.
Rich seconded it. Okay. The reason for this, and we had spoken to this about the COVID issue. As I told you in the president's report, he is very adamant about keeping this community safe, but we want to open up our clubhouse so that we can start living again. And what their charge will be for this one is to review the numbers on a daily basis with Hernando County, how many people in here have been vaccinated. I know that a lot of us have been vaccinated up here at the clubhouse,
try to get an understanding, and then they will report back to us. They are the ones that will help us decide when we can open the clubhouse up to everyone. This again, we will be asking resumes of professional health people. And I know that we have a lot of them in here, and it's going to be, I'm a nurse, and I'm a physician, and I'm a, pharmacist, and so I'm sure that we won't be at a loss to having people help out. So, do I have any discussion from the board?
I want to look at safety.
Yes.
This is very simple. This is the people that are in the residence, walking on the streets. I like the people, nothing's been wrong with it, to walk against the traffic. The car can see you. You walk with it, they're in back of you. They may hit you. This is safety and health right here. Two issues that we're looking at. It's the people that set the precedence. If 4 or 8 cities do it, they'll all do it. The idea is we want to protect the people. That's all. And some just, they don't care about it. That's the residents. We have to be here, this committee is to take care of the people, their safety and health, black and white. There's no other issues also about there, but that's just one more about.
Yeah.
I'm excited that this is gonna get going, and I hope the sooner the better, because I would like professionals to be giving us advice on whether or not we can open this clubhouse. Granted, some of us might think one way about this virus, and others might think another. Same thing with the masks. It'd be nice to have a group of people giving us accurate information, not just something that they Googled, because believe me, I Googled and I have my opinion. But, because I like to see it open. But, that way, as a board, we're making a sound decision. So, you health professionals, please volunteer for this committee right away.
Thank you. If we vote. Any other questions? Okay. All those in favor of establishing a health advisory committee, please raise your hand and vote. 6. Thank you. Next committee. He has down, the News and Views Ad Hoc Committee. He thought we would have to establish a new News and Views Committee, but since the News and Views Ad Hoc Committee was never disbanded, there was no, we didn't have, it was never put together, so we are going to officially establish, I'm recommending that we officially establish the Ad Hoc News and Views Committee to update news and views and brainstorm ideas for bi-weekly newsletter. Patrona and Vince and myself and Jerry and Ron Ross, we have been reviewing this. They had started it last year because, I don't know about you, but the News and Views is all about the ads, and we'll like the extra stuff that's put in there. And we are actively looking at what other communities do. And I was pleasantly surprised to hear Carol say to me, I don't like this. Can I give some suggestions? And we are welcoming her suggestions. And the thought process is right now, by the time you get the News and Views, it's over a month old because we have to have everything in by the second week of the month prior. So all of this stuff that you read in here is really what happened 2 months ago. And what we're also thinking, we're hoping, is to have like just a small bi-weekly paper. And it's something that we're looking at maybe doing in-house, like High Point has that. And all of our residents would be kept up to date. And the other thing that we're looking at, because out of about 2,000 books that we get, maybe 600, 700 people use them. And we get $1,000 a year for that. And these people are making buco bucks on the end. So we're looking to cut that down and perhaps going in-house or finding a company that will print for us. And we've even been talking with the unit reps as possibly they can help pass them out as they're doing their rounds. It's something that we're looking at. And we will have this done by, I would say, the end of July, because we have to give them 90 days to cancel our contract. So we've got to do it this week to cancel our contract. So that will take us up to like September will be the last issue from the present printer. Yes, I'm sorry, I didn't. Go ahead, we'll start with you again.
I second it. Normally for committee, it looks like we have two residents. Do you want that quote unquote work get approved by the board? You want to pick two? And we can go ahead and say the board, these are the two.
Well, what we're going to do is, oh, you mean to,
The board.
this,
Two. Serves as a pleasure for two residents, serve as pleasure for.
and how I like to do that with any of these is once we have the resumes in and Jerry looks them over, then at the next meeting, as they come forward, then we will do them at the time. Because we don't, right, just to vote on the ad hoc committee to establish it itself. Any questions? I think everybody will be pleasantly surprised. And I know Patron has been chomping at the bit for 2 years to do this. So, no questions? 3 years, I'm sorry, 3 years. That's right, it's been 3 years. All those in favor, raise your hands and say aye.
Aye.
Unanimous vote. Thank you. Okay, social committee. Then you have to sit down there and get it from here. Okay. I believe the last one, yes, is the social committee. And, what the analysis is, the social committee is a group of residents charged with planning extracurricular activities for the community. This could include events like movies at the clubhouse, music in the park, motorcycle runs, beach parties, 4th of July barbecues, etc. And what our thought process is to bring people back to the clubhouse. And there's a lot of people that have never been here, so to bring them back. And he does not want to charge anybody in the community, but once we can open it up to the outsiders, they would be charged a $5 fee to come in. So it's a little bit of a, fun, a little bit of a fundraiser, but it's mostly to bring us back. And so that is the thought process. So I would like to make a motion to establish a social committee to plan events for Brookridge.
We haven't heard from Rosemary.
Yes, you did. So I'm going back. Rich, Mark seconded it. Now, go ahead.
In this committee we're forming, this so-called social committee, are these people that form the committee, are they gonna go out and get information and bring things in from the car dealerships to all the businesses?
Okay, please. Okay, thank you. There was an apology. Okay, to answer Richard's question, Jerry's first name that he said, I want Val to chair this. Because Val, she likes to do social stuff and she'll do a lot of stuff, and so the committee would plan things and see what needed to be done and who would help us. So that'll be the social committee. That is not the Veterans Day or the Memorial Day. Those are separate, because those are BCPO events.
So that's what they would do. We don't know how much we'll be able to do this year. As it opens up, we can see how it works out. But this is about the residents first. So do I have any other discussion? No? Okay. All those in favor of the social committee between the next for Brookridge, say aye and raise your hand. And as I said before, we will be looking for resumes to come in, the different things that you would like to do, and this will be on the web, I know it will be on the website, I know it will be out. Can you come to the podium? Name and unit number, do you know?
Barbara Beltran, and. Thank you.
Is that it? Yes, there we go.
Your advisory committees, I think is really a good idea. But now that you have finished with them, I think you've forgotten. A committee that involves the people that are active in in the community as your pickleball, your tennis, your bocce ball, your shuffleboard. I don't see a committee that involves those people. And I think if you have, I don't know what you would call it, maybe a recreation committee. Maybe there's a certain name we should have for that. But I think all of those people should have, because we have a group here
Yes.
that have a lot of concerns, but I don't see a committee that we could go to.
Okay, and I do know, that Jerry has spoken about a couple of those items, and that is something that I think he wants to speak to, because I think that we have a letter in that will be on the next agenda regarding pickleball and tennis.
But don't you think we all should be representative as a committee? Because that's quite a few people. And to me, if we take it just to one person, that doesn't seem like a good idea. I really think it should be one of your listed committees.
Right now, that is not part of what we're thinking of doing, but Barbara, could you do me a favor? Could you just write me something, even if it's just bullet points? Because this is something I knew about the pickleball and the tennis court. I didn't know about the other one. But if you could put that.
I would be very willing to do that, but I really would like to have it brought up in front of the board to have a committee.
Okay, and that,
I really do think that we need to be part of the committee, not just some people here and there. It really should be a committee for the board. Because there'll be issues all during the years that we want to do. Or any of the groups, any of those people want to do. And if we don't have a forum, it just can't be a letter, okay, who do we send this letter to? Because it doesn't seem like there's anyone here, not here, but anyone we can really go to. I don't think anyone has the expertise, but for this recreational type thing that we want to do.
that's why, usually it goes to the board of directors or the president if there is an issue, because I know that there was some correspondence about pickleball, and I know that there was something else that came in. I haven't seen it yet, it's getting too late to be on this agenda, but Barbara, I'd love you to to write that information down and just give
But
suggestions.
who is the person that you want this written to?
You would-
Just the board?
You would send it to the board president, to the board. And you could say, to the board, letter to the board, and then we would all get it.
Okay.
And then we would have something to work on, and then, either Jerry and myself will, so it won't be this week or next week, but we can bring it up at the following week, because I'd really like to sit with you and
Okay.
see what else, yeah.
Okay, but I still don't want to give up the idea of there being a committee formed.
Okay.
So who would we direct? Would we direct that to the president then?
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
so it is not a committee for pickleball, but a committee
For the-
recreation,
for recreation.
which includes everyone. Then we all have that person come to the board
Yeah.
to give the idea.
And I'd love to, and that's not something that was in our radar. These are the things that we knew that we had problems with. But I would certainly want you to send a letter with, each of your suggestions, and then we can meet with you. Unfortunately, not this week or next week, because we, have a very, very full schedule. But, either before or right after that next meeting, I will certainly, if Jerry's back, he will sit with you too. But I certainly would like to know your suggestions and the reasons. Absolutely.
Well, my big thing is since I've been to the meeting, it's for this, advisory committee. But we're also a group here that felt, we have some concerns with pickleball too. Now, is there another time for us to talk to you later on in the meeting? Is that it?
Yeah, that's what it would do, but I'd like to sit with you, or Jerry would like to sit with you first to see what your concerns are, so that we know how to address it at the meeting.
Okay.
Because that would take more than 3 minutes.
Oh, yeah, sorry about that.
No, but to have the discussion would take more than 3 minutes. So we would want to sit with you, and because I'm very interested.
Well, I would talk to you about the form that we have a spokesperson for pickleball that, will be talking to you, it won't be me. So,
Okay, but I would certainly appreciate you sending a letter to the office so we can see. And I appreciate, and I can guarantee you it's not gonna be in the next 2 weeks because Jerry is recuperating. I'm going to be very indisposed for the next week and a half, but the next week, certainly.
okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you for,
Yeah, let me know one thing here.
okay, wait, yeah.
On your committee, it says, music in the clubhouse, motorcycle runs. Can you define motorcycle runs for me?
Absolutely.
Is that out of the park?
Motorcycle runs. Do I have any bikers here?
Motorcycle runs.
Okay, motorcycle runs are a group of motorcyclists get together and they do drives around, they might go up 41 and go to different places. It's a ride, it's usually about 4 or 5 hours, we stop someplace for lunch. And it is a fundraiser for different things. I know that we've done it for, the police down up at Cape Cod, Massachusetts. We've done them for veterans, and I know that they still have I see a lot of veterans runs down here. And it's a fun day for bikers to go together as a group. And it's really the camaraderie is just so awesome. Sometimes they do the poker runs, they do different things. And I know that Jerry has been doing it every so often here. We had to give up our motorcycle 3 years ago, so I am still like, I want to go serve hot dogs and stuff because I love being with the motorcycle.
Okay,
So that is
I got that.
Okay.
My question was, being guy with a Corvette for 40 years, doing Corvette rallies, same thing, motorcycle rallies, and this is a committee, and if I'm right in saying, a committee, you put this together, there's gonna be an insurance policy, like KKK, to cover people. Sir, don't look bad at me, I'm watching you.
Please, let's be polite.
I should do my best, right? So if this has been occurred many times before, I don't know when I drove a cycle in Vietnam, not here. That's beside the point. The point is that if we go out and the committee forms this up, puts it on paper and everything else, if something happens, is the committee liable for things happening? Accidents, whatever?
No, that has never been an issue with any motorcycle run. Never been an issue with a motorcycle run. You do this on your own. If we have to have an insurance, because we do have forms that say we are not liable, you're doing this on your own. And that is a social committee, that is one of the things that they will do. But what it is that you pay a fee, and your rider pays like a half fee if you have a rider. I was always a rider. And half of that will go towards the, Brookridge, doing things for Brookridge, whether it's more plantings or whatever, getting the railing outside. It's a way of making money, but we are all working and having fun together. So those are items that will be straightened out with the social committee. Hear that, Bill? Excuse me, Gail. That's right, so thanks, Rich, for bringing that up.
Excuse me, Gail. These committees, how long, where's the term? Is it a one-year term?
It'll be, I would say right now, it would be a term for the year. And we're going to see how they work out. We're hoping, like right now, our top priority is a health advisory, because they're the ones that takes the onus off us, and they are in the health profession. They're the ones that can take care of that. So Jerry hasn't gotten that far. You know how Jerry is. He hasn't gotten that far, but I would say it would be a yearly, because it won't be standing committees. They'll just be yearly committees. And then people can decide. And at the end of the year, we can evaluate if it's working, what we need to change, because it's a new concept. Okay. Mr. Cole has been chomping at the bit. Ken is going to give a report on the House. Now, Ken, we're not going to talk about every mail and screw this out, are we?
As a matter of fact, Kale Coral Uniform, I have a very lengthy report here. It's probably 52 pages that I will read. No, I'm just.
Are you speed reading?
It's really, really short. I've been threatened, as a matter of fact. So members of
not by me though.
Members of the board. First, I'd like to name the members of the committee. We have Rich Stratton, our board liaison. And if you'd like to stand as I call your name, I'd appreciate it. Millie Bernier, who was our previous board liaison. Richard Sapp, committee member. Bill Riley, committee member. Frank Dumont, committee member. And I would also like to thank Carol Webster, our Brookridge general manager, and Vince Pizzo, our Brookridge facilities manager, for the input, advice, and assistance which they have provided. I'd like to give everybody a big hand and thank you for that. This committee was formed to research the condition of the clubhouse roof and use that information to remedy any problems in the best and most financially responsible way. We agreed to hire an independent roofing professional inspector not affiliated with any roofing contractor. We hired Mike Long, a Florida roof consulting. We asked him to inspect the entire roof and provide a narrative survey listing the general condition and any deficiencies with the roof. We also requested an executive summary including the most cost-efficient and correct way to proceed with repairing our roof. Budgetary considerations have been addressed, and we have photographic documentation. He also is going to obtain 4 sealed bids from contractors to be submitted. The committee will review these bids and select the most appropriate contractor. Mike Long with Florida Roof Consulting also agreed to be our quality control consultant while the roof is being repaired and periodically inspect the work and it is being done by the selected contractor. Thank you all very much for allowing me to address this assembly.
Thank you.
Short enough?
That was perfect.
That was perfect.
I think it was under 3 minutes, too, wasn't it?
Good job.
Yeah, I think it was too long. You weren't there for the show. Okay. We're going to allow member comments, but I'm going to allow the board first for, committee reports and projects first, and then any comments. And then we will open it up to you, and we're going to keep it real short. Okay. Would you like to go first? Who would like to go first? There you go. Okay, treasurer.
I'm Larry. Hi, how are you? Anybody that would like to work on our finance committee, I'd certainly love to have your applications. We'll probably use 5 to 7 people. So if there's anybody out there now that would like to do it, I would look at your resumes and send them down to the admin office. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll speak also. As you all know, Vince, and he's in the men's club with me, for the 4th of July party events, the men's club has given $400 for cooking. For the party coming 4th of July, all right? There you go. It's for the people. We did it last time, and we had the grill going for 3 hours. I hope this year here we can make it down a little less, because the cooks get a little overheated. So with Vincent, putting it together, the men's club donated $400 to make it happen, thing.
Al, you got that?
Rosemary?
Just to let people know, because of the COVID restrictions, we've had to cancel our Memorial Day ceremonies. But I'm working on Veterans Day, fingers crossed, blessings, that we can put on a great Veterans Day program come November. One other thing is, the ladies of Brookridge, as you know, have Tuesday night bingo. The money collected goes to a scholarship fund. They are considering extending the Tuesday night bingo through the summer. What they would ask me to ask you people that play bingo, if you want to contact Anna Webster or Sandra Hughes, somebody on the next 2 Tuesdays, if you would like to have bingo continue for the summer, so we can make arrangements for it.
Thank you.
I was wondering, I'm the ticket seller for social dance and I'm a liaison for bingo. So it's things that I'm not busy with right now, but I want to get the feel from the audience. Would you be willing to participate back in events come May, if the committee for the health advises it? So, you know, if you're not, then I want to hear from you. I want the voice of people to be telling the board what to do. Would you be comfortable if the health advisory, because they're the professional, says it's okay, would you be willing to come back to these events? Because, you know, there's some money out to put on these events.
And you can get a hold of Val. I think the numbers are in the book. Or you could, right, and then you can also, leave her a note at the office, just put a note and say this is for Val Stratton. So that would be helpful
I mean, Jerry's thinking sometime in May anyway, depending on the numbers, but it could be, it's realistically June. Like, you know, just putting it out there.
Mark? Okay. And I've talked enough. Okay, now we're going to welcome residents' remarks.
Good morning.
Name and unit number if you know
Jim Westbrook.
On the mic.
it. Okay, what is it again?
Jim Westbrook, number 6. I have some questions just on, to do with the budget. This report, is the bookkeeper here? No. Maybe Carol can answer. The column here says, January, December, that center column, with $82,000. Is that what we spent in January? Does anybody know?
I'm gonna have to look into it.
What does it say at the top? Is that the December?
January, December. 82,000.
That would be, it would be the treasurer's report as of February 2021. So this would be January, yeah, that would be January's report.
I guess my question is, we spent in January and in February, $152,000. Divide by 2, multiply by 12, that means we spend $916,000. My question is, with a budget of $1,310,000, what are we doing with the rest of the money? What are the plans? That's question 1. Question number 2 is if there are 2,950 residents times $45 for $132,000 or $1,500,000, we have a budget of $1,300,000. What are we doing with the other 280?
The other,
280,000. The numbers don't add up, so I just wondered. And yes, I'd love to be in this meeting.
Jim, the way that we normally do this is, I don't have those numbers right now, and Larry certainly doesn't. But what we will do is, if you can give us your phone number afterwards, and Larry can get in touch with you, and he can talk with the bookkeeper, so he has more specifics, so that we can get you that information, and we can also report on it at the next meeting. Is that cool with you? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Just don't forget to give me your phone number. Next, I saw that, yeah, come on. Name and unit number if you know.
Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Dolores Ren, unit number 1.
I'm sorry, say that again? Thank you.
Dolores Ren, unit number 1, and I'm here for pickleball again.
Okay.
I'm the one that sent the letter on March 1st about getting some dedicated courts for pickleball. Most of the communities around us have that amenity, and I think to remain competitive, it's such a popular sport, I think it's something Brookridge needs.
Well, I do know, Dolores, that the letter that came in too late to be on the agenda.
Okay.
But I know that Jerry has spoken to, before he went for arrest, that he spoke to Carol, and do we have an answer for Dolores yet? I mean, not right now, but we will have, so if she does not have your phone number, would you give it to her so she can get back to you if she has any questions
Okay,
also?
all right, thank you.
Thank you, Dolores. This pickleball by any chance? Nice to see you all here. Over here.
Anna Webster, Unit 4. Thank you, Rosemary, for telling about our Tuesday night bingo. I just want to reiterate that,
we would like to do a summer, but we need volunteers. Patrona and I are there every week. We need volunteers to help us. We can't do it all, and so we would love to have everybody come to bingo on Tuesday night, because right now, we are the only game in town. We are the ones that are doing the CDC guidelines, thanks to Vince and his group. We average over 70 people on Tuesday night, but I want to thank Patrona and the people. She and I are working this together, and so this is my thing. Please help us, and you'll love it, and you'll enjoy it, and it's a good time to be out. Thank you.
And I will say, as I've witnessed Tuesday night bingo, it's nothing like Friday night bingo. I'm actually afraid to go into Friday night bingo sometimes. But Tuesday night bingo is strictly a residence game. And when the bingo is done, it is for the ladies of Brookridge. And I believe we need 50 people there to break even. So we want to bring as many people as we can in. They are definitely socially distanced. That's something that we have a big problem, want to make sure. And when I came in and I saw the way they were done, they're doing a great job. And you're not 8 people to a table. I think there's only 4 people to a table. Yeah.
1 to 4.
One to 4. So it's spread out. It's not just here. They go into the other hall. So it is a fun thing. I think the what is it, like $8 or $10 is the lowest. 8, you can play for $8, and it's a fun time. And I know everybody has a good time here. So if we can get people to come, that would be, and it's something to do because there aren't many things to do yet. Oh, I didn't see it.
Jim Snyder, Unit 4. For our social committee group, I'd like to remind everybody that the Men's Association is having a spring sale the 17th of April from 9 to 1 outside. We have 30 tables at $10 a piece. They will be sold in the clubhouse up until then. We're going to have food, share the wealth. Please come and support us so we can support the community with some of the things that we do. And just one other thing in passing. Years ago, you were talking about the news and views on a separate little paper or something to make it smaller. We passed out stuff at the front gate to people coming in. That's one way you're going to get people to get it. And I think that might be the cheapest way. You get a couple volunteers like me to stand out there and pass out papers. Or sit out there and pass out papers, one or the other.
Tony, great idea. She's gonna write that down. There was somebody, Ron? I'm sorry, Jim, was that the 18th?
17.
The 17th, and what are the hours?
9 to 1.
9 to 1. And Rich, do you know the table sale dates?
Today, 9 to 11, right here in Mooney. Thursday, next Tuesday, and next Thursday. Right here in the clubhouse. Come in, get your table set up. It'll be out there set up. We have a whole design room for people. This will be outside garage sale. Just like you have garage sales in your house, you have it outside.
What does it cost for a table?
$10. Contribution to the next club, and of course we give it back, as you see, we give it $4 back for the party coming up.
Rick,
Bye.
what about the rain date, just in case?
Next week later. It's the flyers on the wall. It's clubhouse, both walls, in the office. No problem.
The news and views.
The
The
news
news
and
and
views.
views.
You gotta look for it in there, but it's in there.
It's on the calendar in the middle.
It's on the calendar in the middle, okay. Many times that's all people can read. Mr. Ross. Yes.
Ron Ross, Unit 6. If you've looked at the news and views, you'll see an article, News and View, Brookridge now has a food pantry that the groups have started.
You can turn around because this is.
Matter of fact, if you look back in the back, about one of the boxes that got put together. Last Wednesday, we met, the food handlers, we have 10 different locations in Brookridge, we're looking for 2 more. Those 10 locations have tubs set out for donations to be dropped off. And we gather those every Wednesday night, we bring them up here, we break them down, we separate them, put them in boxes, and the food goes out to people that are in Brookridge. It's not for outside, it's for people in Brookridge. I've got a bunch of sheets with me, there was a list of 26 items on the list. We're asking people, please stick to the items on the list, because I don't want somebody bringing in a case of Uncle Harry's jalapeno peppers, because a lot of us can't eat Uncle Harry's jalapeno peppers. So we've got a list here, what we're looking for, and we don't want everybody to go out and buy everything on the list. I mean, if you do, that's fantastic, but that's not what it's all about. What it's about is having the list with you, and when you go shopping, you've got the list, you're taking a picture, it's on your phone, any way you can remember it. And if you buy, you're buying 4 cans of soup, buy 6, drop a couple off at one of the homes. If you're buying cereal, buy a couple boxes and drop one off at the home. So it's a way for us all to participate, to make sure that people in Brookridge that need food, get food. The last Wednesday night that we came together, we put together 7 boxes, and this hasn't been running full speed yet. We're getting calls, for people now that have heard about it, that do need food. So please, see me afterwards, I'll be glad to give you a copy of this. I can email it to you if you want, stop looking one of the boxes. But hopefully, it'll go forward. We're looking for good things to come from it. And it's not food bank, big difference. It's a food pantry, all non-perishables. So if somebody goes in, Jack, the radios, somebody dropped by their house, hadn't seen the list, and dropped off a case of, lettuce and a case of peppers. They have to find homes for them because we can't use them with us. So anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you, Ron. You gotta say your name again.
It's on.
It's on, like, just leave it
The
on.
light, okay, you got it.
All right, well, Barb Bailey again, I think my unit might be too.
Okay.
So anyway, this is a good example of why we need an advisory, for the recreation. Because who do you were mentioned to Dolores that she's supposed to give her name to someone to talk to?
Mm-hmm.
But you as the board are the people that are going to say yes or no to what we are proposing. We have a diagram, we have spent a lot of work as to what we wanted to present to you today. And now we aren't going to be able to talk to any of you. We're kind of shuffled off to someone else. So who on board, who would be, you're the ultimate people to say yes or no to what we would like. Who of you can you talk to?
Okay, this is what I said, when you give it to Carol, okay, Carol should be our first contact.
So we're going to talk to her and tell her all our plans.
Well, that's what
Everything.
that's what I was asking, if you could, do you have that already? But when you have, like, you wanted to know with all of the different courts, that's why I said you could write down some information for.
Well, I can give you the information for an advisory committee. But what we as a pickleball group that are here, probably about 7, 8, 10 people, we thought we were going to be able to talk to you as all the plans that we would like.
Excuse me, okay, wait. I just want to mention, this was in discussion, it did not make it because Jerry hasn't had full time to research it and to really look at it. I did show it to him.
we just need to know who we need to talk to. So you're saying that all these plans, we need to talk to Jerry.
Jerry is the one, because before he took his wife to the hospital last week, he did mention to me that the letter was there and that they were working on it. Unfortunately, that's not something that Jerry was able to share with me because we were doing other things, but I know that he has a dedicated time for it. That's why I said you're gonna have to give us a little bit of time because Jerry is still indisposed and,
Completely understand that.
but you were going through the right channel.
Okay, but in the end, it's Jerry that we would talk to then as to all these different things?
At this point, he's gonna look at it to see what has to be done. Okay, so he's gonna look at it before we take the next step as to where, that's why I said, if you could, this is a very, I'll tell you people, when I got the call, it was Thursday morning, which was April Fool's, and I thought he actually was making a terrible prank on me. And then I found out that it wasn't.
No, that's fine, that's.
Yeah, but it is in the right, it's in the right hands right now.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, thank you.
Yeah. Did you move? Oh, yes, you moved, because you were over there. Name and unit number.
Hi.
Is it up?
Hi, Joanne Burns, Unit 3. I want to tell you, okay, I'm sorry to hear about Jerry, and you guys did an awesome job handling everything Jerry wanted. And honestly, guys, we are rocking. The morale in the community has been amazing in just a short period of time that you guys all took over. Just seeing the office staff, the morale in the office has been amazing. The workers have been amazing. If you go to any of the workers, any of them, even the clubhouse, everywhere, it's a complete different temperament. And we owe it to Jerry, I have to say, and the hard work that he put into what's happening in here now. And the new board coming on. Yesterday, for Easter, we, as a community, not me, as a community, because we work together, were able to feed 19, cooked up 19 dinners, not alone, it was a teamwork, it's team. Brookridge is a team, we have team spirit. There's no more Brookridge strong, it's team spirit, okay, and it's a community. And we need to stick with that. There's a lot of drama still going on in here, okay, and everybody in here needs to know that, okay? Media, social media, it's out there, okay? I am no longer on Nextdoor. I was taken off again by a stupid comment. If anybody needs me, they have to go through Ron Ross, Ken Duncan, Brenda, the clubhouse, security. Somebody always knows how to get in touch with me. If a senior needs a meal, if someone needs help, okay? That's how they have to get me, because I'm off until the 26th. But, yes, please ignore the drama, okay, especially under the circumstances. We need to keep continuing on going in here. We have to live through Jerry, everything that's going on. Jerry's doing amazing. He'll be back very shortly. And we need to keep this going. This is what our community is about. What you're all seeing in here right now, what's going on, this is where it's at. This is what Brookridge always was. And we need to keep it going. Thank you.
Thank you, Joanne. Anybody else?
One thing, there will be no more COVID testing at the clubhouse. I hate to say it, but, they came out last Thursday, and no one showed up. So, if you need to go get a COVID test, you call them, up and they can schedule a time for you to go get it, okay? It worked out fantastic, in the past couple months. A lot of people came out, but last week, no one showed up, so we had a schedule for May and June. So as the vaccines are rolling out, people are less getting it, so, get the test So, they stopped. So I just want to make that announcement.
Thank you, Vince. I want to thank everyone for following decorum. Our board is definitely trying to work together. We're working together for all of you. And I'm with Joanne. Jerry was a huge catalyst, and I'm very proud to be working with him. So if we have nothing more to say, I would, venture a motion to adjourn.
Everybody.
He said it first, I heard him. He motioned to adjourn. Mike, seconded by, all those in favor, aye. Thank you, everybody.